Good morning and welcome. I'm so excited that you are here. Can you guys give me a thumbs up in the comments below if you can hear me okay, or unmute yourself just to tell me? Can you hear me? A thumbs up in the comments below if you can hear me. I think you can hear me over here. Okay. So I am going to do my best today to interact with both those that are on the Zoom and me leaving comments, and also those in our Facebook group. I'm so glad to see Keesha, Maylin. We had over 40 people between Facebook and the Zoom live with us yesterday, and I'm sure we'll have even more, and I know several more caught the replay last night. So welcome to day 2. Way to show up. Give yourself a pat on the back. This is challenging stuff, to show up and be in a place where you are ready to have new strategies. You want to make change for your family. So I'm really glad that you're here and that you made the time. I'm Flora McCormick, and if you haven't met me before, I am a licensed counselor and parenting coach. I've been working in this field for 12 years. Before that, I worked in different settings with children, including working with extremely emotionally disturbed kids in Oakland and working as a nanny and summer camp counselor. So I'm kind of one of those people, like every job I've ever had was related to kids. I had my own kids 7 years ago, and now I'm really excited to be sharing with all of you these strategies in sustainable parenting to help you parent smarter, not harder. I went through my own journey of trying to figure out how to be in this middle place that I call parenting smarter, not harder. And bedtimes was a key one. Getting out the door was a key area. And this is what I'm excited to share with you today, is a strategy that if you do one thing today, I know you're so busy. I know you're like, I can't add one more thing. But if you do one small thing, if you have 30 seconds, this is going to be the most effective way to spend that 30 seconds. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm so glad that you're here. I'd love to put in the comments right now, what is bringing you here today? What questions are you having about sleep? Some folks already posted what they were struggling with in terms of, I have to stay at my child's bedside because they won't stay in bed. That's the most common thing I've been hearing from comments so far. Welcome, Parnian. Glad to see you here today. So as we are going through this today, I want to be able to answer what is most specifically going on. But before we dive in there, I also want to know what happened yesterday. So I know many of you were here yesterday and you heard the strategy on how to first focus on connection and to say the phrase, I notice, connecting to what it is you see them doing or you think that they're likely feeling. And part 2 was then using either a what can we do to solve this? What would you like to do first? Or a when then? So I'd love to hear your stories. If anyone here that's on live with me, if you'd like to unmute and share your story, you're welcome to do so. And if anyone in the comments would like to share, you're welcome to do that as well. I'll share while you guys are typing a few of the pieces of feedback that I got from parents via Messenger. I used the strategy and it made getting out the door with her and her little brother way easier. So this mama was using the asking and the connecting with getting out the door. So on our topic today, that can be a super helpful one. Another mama said, I was so proud of him for getting himself ready and proud of myself for finding a solution that didn't involve fighting him. It made for a much more relaxing afternoon. Another mama said, we were running a few minutes late. I was making lunch. And then like magic, I heard her say the question in the mudroom, what do I need to do to get ready? And I couldn't believe it. It felt like a super proud moment. Thank you. Honestly, I kind of wanted to cry, happy tears. It was so awesome to see that something I was putting out there really stuck with her, and to see her take initiative, it was amazing. That's what we really want for our kids. So nice job, Shannon. Another mama says, my daughter asked for a treat and I told her we couldn't have it because she just had dinner. She started to have a meltdown, and then I used the strategy and I stayed calm. I told her that wouldn't help, that I stayed calm, and I talked her through it, and she calmed and asked for something else, and we moved on. Normally I would have gotten annoyed and raised my voice, but I stayed calm and clear. So fun to hear those stories, and more are coming in. So Heather says, I tried it at dinner when my son wanted to play instead of eating. I used the strategy of explaining if we sit and eat, we'll have time to play after dinner. And he was excited and ate quickly. High five, Heather. Yes. And others that are watching this, would you like the comments that other parents share so that you can give some encouragement? I love to build community here. We all, as moms and dads, need those pats on the backs, need the cheers from other parents to say, good job, mama, good job, dad, way to go. Mandy says, just going over to them instead of talking across the house. He paid attention better and came up with his own answer of what was next. Nice job, Mandy. Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna give those all likes as well. And Keesha says, it was challenging to remind myself to slow down and put these in practice. But when we did, we didn't have the normal massive meltdown. Awesome, Keesha. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being so real and honest about that. I made a post a few weeks back, and it keeps coming up in our conversations in my coaching program. The pause is one of the most powerful and underused parenting strategies. Do you ever feel like you're just like rushing? It's like, okay, I want to be a good parent, but we got to get here. We got to get there. We got to do the next thing. I got to be like ultimate taskmaster. Got to make cupcakes for Halloween. Got to do this. Got to get to soccer practice. Got to do gymnastics. Got to get you to bed. Got to get to work. We have so much on our plates. Is that you? Would you say yes if you feel that way? Like, it's hard to pause, to slow down, to use my most wise parenting because of the pace of life. And so because of that, especially because of that, thank you for being here. And I'm so glad, keep coming back to Sustainable Parenting, where I am regularly here to encourage you and remind you for that pause. I want to encourage and remind you of that pause and how powerful it is, how underused and underrated it is to slow down. One small thing that has been helping me a lot, oh, I don't have it in here, is a devotional book that I've started to read called Only Love Today. And it has just changed my perspective many days. It gives you like one page each day to focus. To focus on, what can I do this day to be less stressed, more loving, more connected, and in a really, really real way. I mean, she starts the whole book out sharing how she smashed a casserole dish on the ground in an angry moment. So this is not a mama being Pollyanna, like just smile and everything's fine. But she gets to the real stuff of, man, I felt guilty today about losing my temper. And some wisdom from my heart brought this thought to mind. And that's what I'm going to move forward with today. So if that's something that you feel would be a nice practice, I'm kind of running a small support group, just asking parents to be in a messenger thread where we keep making comments about what we're getting out of the devotional to keep accountable, because that's one of the hardest things as we are making changes. Yeah, Jennifer says, always in a hurry. It's hard to stop. Absolutely. So today, let's dive into how to have a strategy that can help you with those times that are crucial for us getting to bed or getting out the door. So what comes to mind is Keesha. And Keesha, you're here live with us. Would you be willing to unmute for a second and share I don't know if you're in the midst of parenting right now because you've got a lot of kiddos. Would you be willing to share the conversation that we had about what you did differently with your child?
Sure. I am currently driving, so forgive me if I accidentally drop my phone.
No problem. Be safe out there. And you know, I'm putting you on the spot because I did not prep you that I was going to ask you to do this. So this is not a test. This is not a quiz. I'm just, if you would share the short example, what was going on, first of all, for you with sleep? And then what did you shift and what did you notice?
Yeah, so for us, my oldest is almost 6 years old in January. And probably for the last 6 months to a year, we have struggled with a constant like coming out of his room. So we would bring him in there, we would do all of his nighttime stuff, you know, including scratching his back, saying prayers, just like doing all the cuddles and everything. And within like 5 minutes of us leaving the room, he would come back out and just say, I want you, mama. I need you, mama. I just want you. And we were really, really struggling because it would be probably a good like hour and a half, almost 2 hours after bedtime before he would actually finally fall asleep.
Oh my
And
gosh,
for
in that hour and a half, I bet you're losing your marbles. You're
yes,
exhausted. You're not having time with your partner. Yikes.
exactly, precisely. And so that was really challenging for me and my husband because we didn't ever get like good quality time. And so when I had reached out to you in regards to it, you had gave me a tidbit about the checks. And as soon as we started implementing these checks, I know you're going to go over like what all of the checks is, but as soon as we implemented that, I can tell you it was like a night and day experience. Within like 3 days, he was passed out like in his bed at 8:30 every night and was like not coming out consistently. It was like I got my nights back, and that was like so huge for us. It was so
Yes, you
huge.
got your nights back. That hour and a half. Oh my gosh. And I posed this question in the email reminder to everyone, but God, what would you all do with an extra hour and a half at night? What would that mean to you? Would that mean more time to connect with your partner? Would that mean time to actually go to the gym? Would that mean time to actually meet up with a friend that you haven't talked with in a while? What would you love to do with an extra hour and a half given to you at nighttime? Put it in the comments below. And thank you so much, Keesha, for sharing your story. It just is so exciting. And that's the power of these small shifts that can make super powerful, effective results. Yes, so I see people writing in the comments of what would you do if you had that extra time? Yeah. All right. Oopsie. I lost my. Oh boy. Can you guys still hear me? My mouse just unplugged for a second, and so I couldn't move back over. Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about the strategy, the checks. So when you look at your handout, it says you're likely believing that blank. What you're likely believing is that your day is at the whim of what your child's emotional mood is. Am I right? Like a lot of people yesterday were saying, when I said, where are you at? What is the struggle of kids not listening? A lot of people were choosing option B. I'm frustrated that I'm inconsistent and I'm losing my temper. And option C, I'm exhausted because I feel like each day is controlled by my kids' emotions. And we can end up in this place, especially with bedtime, like, okay, if he's in a good mood or they're really tired, then bedtime goes fine. We've got a good routine. But you're likely believing that that's all that you can do is set a nice routine and hope that it works. And then if they're not in the mood for it to work and they are more whiny or needy or clingy, then your only option is to lay next to the bed. Or in the morning, you're likely believing that if they are not moving, your only option is to keep ordering and repeating and nagging. And so here is the powerful shift. Here's what can be different, is that what you can do to be so much more effective, spend 30 seconds today on making a plan. Not a plan of what you're going to make your child do, but on what you will do. Hear me really clearly on that. A plan that's about what you will do, not what you will make your child do. So often that's where the anger and the frustration and the like hopelessness comes, is I can't seem to make him. And so the strategies we're talking about today, like yesterday, when we talked about connection first, when we talked about asking that curiosity question of what or how, it's kind of a combination. We name it to tame it. We're using ways to connect to what we know will really motivate them. And we're focusing on what we have the power to control. We have the power to control a different communication strategy. We have the power to shift what we're doing at bedtime. And that's exactly what Keesha did, and where she started to see results. When she was focused on, why won't you just stay in bed? It wasn't getting better, right, Keesha? And then when she moved into, I'm going to use a strategy that I have control of. I'm not going to focus on what I can make you do. I'm going to focus on what I can do instead of what I can make my child do. That's where the change really happened. And I see your comment there about the handout, Party, and so I'm going to put it right here into the chat box. You should be able to access it there. So here's what I mean for today. So what Keesha did in terms of focusing on what she could do, not on what she was going to make her child do, is we shifted bedtime and we took 30 seconds to make a plan. We took 30 seconds to make a plan that's focused on positive attention to the behavior we want to see more of. As it says in your handout, the most effective way to use 30 seconds of your time is to make a plan that focuses on positive behavior, or positive attention for the positive behavior. Hear that again. Make a plan that focuses on positive attention for positive behavior, and that focuses on what I can do, not what I'm going to make my child do. Make a plan that's focused on what I can do, not what I'm going to make my child do. And let's look at what that looked like. And so what we did with Keesha was we did this thing called checks. And this actually was inspired by one of my amazing graduates of the transformation program. Well, she took the advice I was giving her and she put this into a check system. And I said, I love that. I'm going to share that with more parents. That's the power of when you're in a group coaching setting. I love that sometimes the best advice comes from this mix of parents really hearing new perspectives and then making it their own, seeing how it works and coming back and sharing that with each other. So the check system looks like this. Instead of being at the whim of their mood for whether we're going to have bedtimes go good, we take time to make a plan and then we share that plan. So here's the check system plan. Honey, we are going to do something new tonight. I know that you're such a big girl, you're such a big boy, and that you can stay in your bed. We're going to attend to anything that you might need. If you're wanting mommy's love, I'm going to hug a bear and put mommy's love in that bear so it's right here next to you. We could even put one of mommy's shirts wrapped around so it smells like mommy. My love is right here with you. You can use that. There's a story of a raccoon where it's called the kissing hand. And they use this sometimes for separation, going to school or daycare, but great at bedtime too. I'm going to kiss your hand. And then if you're needing mommy's love, it's right there with you. You put it on your heart. So we're doing a replacement. So we don't use the crutch that I have to be here with you. But I get that you want my love. So I'm going to give my love to you to be right there snuggling and comforting you with this teddy bear or with this blankie or right here on your hand with my kiss. And then mommy is going to come check on you in 1 minute to see that you're staying in bed. You get 4 checks for the night. When you stay in bed, you get all 4 of those checks where I'm going to come to you. I'm going to rub your back one more time, give you one more kiss on the forehead, and then I'm going to leave. And when you stay in bed, you get 3 more times of that. If you get out, we lose 1. Okay? So we stay in bed, we get all 4 checks. And you can maybe take a piece of paper, just draw a white piece of paper with 4 squares, and you could check it off. If they're younger kids, especially, that visual will really help them understand. And then you follow through. So you come back a minute after they've gone to bed Yay, way to stay in bed. And they say, I'm going to come back now in 3 minutes. And you don't have to have like a timer. We don't want them really noticing the exact time. Even if they're younger kids, they don't have a sense of time. We're going to keep stretching the time longer and longer. So I'll come back in 3 minutes. And then you're going to come back in 5 minutes. And then you come back last time in 10 minutes. And the hope is that they are asleep, or at least that they are getting themselves sleepier and sleepier on their own, but knowing that you are giving that attention, positive attention to the positive behavior. And it really flip-flops things. I know Keesha said that she noticed this. It was like, oh my gosh, this is such a different arrangement for my child to be staying in bed to get the attention, as opposed to getting out of bed to get the attention, right? Do you see the difference? And it's because, as it says on your handout, what gets noticed gets repeated. Friends, what gets noticed gets repeated. We may think, well, yeah, I'm correcting them and I'm telling them no. But if you think about it, if you are starting to come back and give them the attention, be in their space when they get out of bed, it reinforces them doing it more. So we want to give the attention to the behavior we want to see more of. What gets noticed gets repeated. So what do you notice about this? Those of you that are on here on Zoom, you can unmute and ask a question, or you can type to ask a question. Those either watching on Facebook or on Zoom. What questions or revelations are you having about how this could help your bedtime system?
I think this is a great idea. It's, even sometimes kids regress into co-sleeping a little older age. So I could see this working really well in that scenario too.
Yeah, so you mean like they end up wanting to come sleep in bed in the middle of the night?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's it too, is it's so hard. I mean, I always say my 3 a.m. brain is not working the best, right? And so it's so easy to just be like, okay, just crawl into bed. But I've seen a lot of families that get in that zone. They might have excuses like, well, it started to happen like 5 a.m. and we're like, okay, you can just come lay in bed with us for another hour or two until we wake up for the morning. But then the child can't differentiate, and it starts creeping in to, they come into your room at 3 a.m. and then maybe they're coming in at 1 a.m. So if you don't want them coming in your room at night, keeping a very consistent, this is what the outcome's going to be, and just not giving attention when they do come in your room, take them by the hand, walk back, say it's bedtime, give them a kiss and leave, is the most effective strategy. And there you can do other steps to be able to continue in the middle of the night with that as well, if you need to a little bit, just to make that change of keeping them in bed. Thanks for saying that, Parnian. Yeah. Ashley says an extra hour and a half of sleep sounds amazing. Yeah, so many of you guys I know are exhausted by not getting enough sleep. And let me tell you, this ties into behaviors also. If you have a child that is not listening, having a lot of upsets, and you're having bad sleep habits in terms of them taking a long time to fall asleep or getting up in the middle of the night to come into your bed, then this sleep can be a really big turning point as well. Sleep affects my kids, like I always say, they're like the Snickers commercial. If they do not have food, they're super hungry or overtired, boy, does it show up in their behavior. Ashley's asking a question. I'm wondering if this will work for my 22-month-old. I envision a lot of tears as we have tried the cry it out method. So Ashley, what I would love to share with you is a chapter out of a sleep book that I really like, that's recommended by our local sleep expert, Myra Hartzheim. So if you would like to reach out to her, I will put her contact information below. But you can do this even with a 22-month-old. And the advice from the Sleep Lady, a book recommended by Myra, is a nice balance between cry it out and okay, I'll lay here for an hour and a half till you fall asleep. So she has something that she calls the Sleep Lady Shuffle. And it's a 12-day process of moving from being right there and soothing them all the way to sleep into the space of of them learning the habits to soothe themselves to sleep. It really is a muscle, like everything else. Yesterday, we were talking a bit about how we're helping our kids build their struggle muscles. This is self-soothing muscles. And it's our job as parents to help them in a supportive way. So I'll send you the chapter that really lines out that Sleep Lady Shuffle. I think that alone would help. And it super applies to 22-month-old. That's a perfect time, because the longer and longer that you wait to set better sleep habits, the harder it does get to break those, because they've gotten into those habits. Great question, Ashley. Okay, so let's talk about getting out the door. So similarly, what gets noticed gets repeated. We want to look for a strategy. What I've suggested to you, take 30 seconds today to make a plan that focuses on what you will do, not what you will make your child do. So let's think about this. Okay, if you've been struggling to get out the door, do you have a plan? Or has it been, well, they know what needs to get done. We need to get our teeth brushed, get dressed, grab the lunches, grab the coat. Here in Montana, snow pants, gloves, all the stuff, and get out the door. I mean, that's the plan. Why do I need to say it any firmer? If you haven't clearly put something visually and then made a plan with your child of what will happen if they're not getting those things done, you're not using the key tool you have to motivate better behavior. So here's what I want to suggest. Take 30 seconds tonight, take a rectangle, and don't overthink it. Don't get like, okay, I got to go on Pinterest. I got to print out some images. I got to make this look fancy. Don't get in your head. Don't overthink it. Take a piece of paper, make a rectangle, draw a few lines across it. If they're younger kids, put especially just a picture of like a shirt, and then breakfast, and then the toothbrush, and then something that we're going to talk about that's really key here, and then getting out the door. And then talk to your kids about it. So here's the most important part at the end, is what gets noticed gets repeated. I want you to add something positive at the end that you can enforce. So maybe it's that when you've gotten all of these things done, honey, then you can choose a snack to eat in the car as we go to school. Or it may be that they normally get to watch cartoons during breakfast and getting dressed, like after they're dressed, they eat breakfast. And then you say, ooh, if we haven't gotten all the things done by the time we got to get out the door, then you lose being able to watch cartoons tomorrow with your breakfast, because you obviously were too distracted. I focus on what I can do, not what I'm going to make you do. I'm going to give you choices. When you choose to be responsible with your time, let's talk about what you can get with that. Yes, you could have cartoons with watching the show, or some people will say at the end of getting everything done, you can have 10 minutes of playtime. Maybe it's computer time. Maybe it's watching a short show on your way driving to work. Every family has different values of what you want to set to be the outcome. Maybe it's when you get home from school, you can eat a piece of your Halloween candy. But if you don't get out the door on time, we're not going to have that. So it's not bribery, but it's thinking about the things that are already the privileges. Mandy says, yes, we do this and it works wonders. We have magnets on the fridge that they can move over when they've gotten their things done. Awesome, Mandy. What you're tapping into there is something we talked about yesterday. That is, when we're trying to get our kids to listen, we have to shift our communication strategy. And part of that, to be effective, is tapping in and tuning into what we know motivates them. Kids want a sense of significance, belonging, power and control, and attention. So we are crafting strategies that tap into those, and that's why they work really well. That's why these small shifts can be super effective. So that's what I want you to do today for getting out the door. And you can try some of what we talked about yesterday too. As Katie shared, she got her kid out the door by just pausing, connecting, saying, boy, you're having a hard time this morning. What do you need to do next in your routine chart? But that question doesn't work if we haven't made a visual that they're clear on and that they know what the possible outcomes are. So instead of just yelling and nagging, we can be in a poised place of keeping our patience and calm, because we're like, I have a plan. If they don't do this thing, then they're just losing their cartoon time tomorrow. And I'll follow through on that. They will experience sort of the pain point of that. And I hope that they'll be motivated to make a different choice next time. And I can say it that way. In my program, I always like to say, this empowers you to get sad, not mad. Like, boy, oh, that is sad that you're not going to be able to have cartoons tomorrow. I can see that you're sad about that, not you're making me sad. That is disappointing, and you're going to be bummed tomorrow, and I bet you'll make a different choice. But then you position them. Then the next morning, you say, now remember, we're not having cartoons today because we couldn't get everything done on time. But when you get everything done today and we get out the door on time, tomorrow you get cartoons back, or whatever the agreement is, or you get that extra 10 minutes of playtime. So it's letting their choices lead to their results. That's where we see the change. That's where then they start deciding, well, I want to listen because I know I want my choices to go this good result versus the not so good result. So you've got 2 strategies here. How are you feeling about this? This comes from my pillar on having a super effective toolbox. I know I'm not answering every single question that you have about getting your kids to listen or bedtimes or getting out the door, but that's what personalized coaching is for. I'm happy to talk with you about that. We can connect. If you'd like to already set up a time to let me know a little bit what's going on for you and test out if you want to consider one-on-one or working in my group program, you can say the word connect and I'll put that link there for you. But also what I want you to do today, everyone watching this, free, is to try this, to put this into action. I want to see families having more ease and joy. And so come back tomorrow and let me know what you notice when you use your plan. Sit down with your partner, sit down with your kids, make a plan of what you're going to do for bedtime or what you're going to do for getting out the door. And then I want to hear about it. So at the bottom, it says 0 to 10. How committed are you to keep using these tools from day 1 and 2? Give me a 0 to 10. 10 is like, yes, I'm going to do it. I promise. 0 to 10. How committed are you to try what we talked about yesterday, connecting, and then questions for moving forward, or making a plan to shift bedtime or out the door time? All right, Parnean's a 10. And I want to point out something to maybe hold you accountable. So I'm having a question answer day on Thursday. I would love for you to sort of keep that in your mind. I've got to at least put this into action and try one of these before Thursday so I can come to the question answer call and share what I noticed or be able to get my questions answered about what didn't go so well. That is going to be a space, a full 30 minutes where we can dive into any questions related to what we've covered this week, or questions that you're just experiencing in your challenges of parenting. So thank you so much for being here. Those that are live, I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes of any other additional questions or comments that you would like to share. And just know if it feels like, oh, I don't know if I want to be vulnerable to put my question out there. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you say, but what about this? And also it helps many others to hear the questions that other parents have. See lots of folks saying, thank you, thank you. I know you may need to get going because the half hour is done. So glad you joined us. So glad you were here. Any questions, Maylin? Oh. All right. Well, it looks like folks are logging off. So thank you again for being here. Day 2, tomorrow for day 3, we're going to be talking about how to encourage more independence so you have less whining and you have more joy and ease each day. Thank you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye now.